Here in Dumpster Fire 2020, the election is 2 weeks away, and the World Series Game 3 is tomorrow. And there are lots of similarities between Donald Trump and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I am most proud of my Super Bowl guarantees for a decade always being correct, and my guarantees that the Dodgers will fail every single year. I have promised and guaranteed it since 2013, watching the Cardinals beat them, the Red Sox beat them, the Astros beat them, the Washington Nationals beat them, etc., etc., etc. And so, I want to put on record right here and now that Donald Trump is going to be reelected and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays are going to win the World Series. And I don't really know why. Everything points to Trump losing. Everything points to the Dodgers finally winning a World Series. So what do the Devil Rays and Trump have in common? Well, this is a fake China virus 2020. So the Dodgers should finally win the World Series. This is a cheap-ass fake year, only a 60-game season, so Kershaw is well-rested when usually he totally runs out of fuel by now. Same with Jansen. And Dodgers just always find a way to choke, but they're well-rested, and they're playing inferior teams, and the stars are aligned, it seems, for them to finally luck out and win a fake-ass World Series. And yet, the Devil Rays, who I have no faith in, they have no offensive power, no star names, no money to their team. They're not bought like the Dodgers. They don't have the superstars like the Dodgers. They don't have the experience like the Dodgers. They're super inexperienced. And yet somehow, some way, I have no idea why or how, they're going to find a way to win. The Dodgers are going to choke, and Bellinger is going to do more freaking elbow celebrations and hurt his elbow, and Mookie Betts is going to dive or jump for a ball, and his huge-ass gold chain that is 50 times fatter than this is going to hold them down by just the smallest amount, because baseball is a game of inches, or who knows what other crazy thing is going to happen that the Dodgers are going to make excuses for. But they will choke again like they have every single year, and I've guaranteed it all over social media every single year. So I have no faith in the D-Rays, and I would not bet the D-Rays, but I certainly would not bet on the Dodgers, even though Vegas says the Dodgers are going to win. All of the sports analysts say the Dodgers are going to win by a long shot, and yet Dodger fans are going to celebrate like crazy as if they're super proud, like it was some big achievement, when they're playing an inferior team, and they just squeaked by playing an inferior team in the Atlanta Braves. So enough of that. Now as for Trump, all signs point to Trump finally losing. Everybody says Trump is going to lose, except the in denial, delusional, believe in everything Trump says, redneck Trump supporters in the middle of nowhere. I am an educated Trump supporter. And that's not do or die Trump for me. Like, I'm just against China bullying us on trade for decades. I'm just against illegal immigration. I'm just against Islam clashing with Western culture. On and on and on it goes. Which anyone that is for equal rights and women's rights should be against Islam, because Islam is against all of that. But, I watch MSNBC, CNN all day. I actually prefer that stuff more than Fox News, because Fox News sugarcoats things. I see the polls, and polls, they lied in 2016. Yeah, I guarantee Trump was going to win in 2016. I have videos saying polls are wrong, they're 5 to 10% off, Trump is going to win 2016. So I'm very proud of those videos. And this is not 2016, though. The polls are showing Trump losing way worse here in 2020. Hillary Clinton was hated like never before. Biden is not hated like Hillary. And there was no pandemic. And Trump truly has lost the elderly vote and suburban moms, because he's never shown a conciliatory tone during all of the BLM protests, and he was calling everybody Antifa and anarchists and terrorists. And it's like, these are suburban moms that are welcoming their son or daughter home after protesting all day, and it's dinner time at the dinner table. Hey honey, you're home, how was the protest, right? It's a nice suburban middle class family, and Trump's calling them terrorists or protesters or rioters and all that, anarchists. And it's like, that did not jive well for the suburban moms. But more importantly and damaging than that is the elderly vote. It's like the elderly vote, the senior citizens, is the most reliable, consistent voting bloc. So even though Trump's attitude on the virus mirrors young people's attitude on the virus. I have spoken to countless college students and on down that absolutely laugh about this virus, that absolutely mock it and think it's nothing, and they laugh about it all the time. And that's Trump's attitude. But you know what? Young people don't vote, and actually young people are woke, and most of them are liberal and being indoctrinated in their colleges, and professors are punishing them if they even have conservative views. So Trump won the elderly, the senior citizen vote by like 20% in 2016. And this year, the elderly population is mad at him. The elderly population is jealous of him because he defeated and vanquished the virus in 4 days, 3 days, or he faked it all along. I have a video saying, watch, he's going to come out in a week or two and say that he beat the virus and he's rocky and he's a survivor. He's going to come out tougher than ever like the Brazilian president did. And sure enough, that's what he did. Again, not a conciliatory tone. So the elderly people, they have turned against Trump. He has lost a large percent of the elderly vote. So the China virus has been unleashed against Trump, and it is why he should lose, because he lost the elderly vote. And the China virus has caused the baseball 2020 to be some stupid fake ass championship, which should let the Dodgers totally win this year. They're playing an inferior team, etc., etc. And yet, for somehow, some way, I have faith that the Dodgers will fail, and I have faith that Trump will win again, because it's like, if Trump can't find a way, I expect him to find a way to win, either by convincing enough people or by other means. And that's just fighting fire with fire, because he was robbed of an automatic sail into victory re-election in which the Democrats never had a chance in the first place. But because of the China virus, you're all blaming him for your lost job. You're blaming him for 200,000 deaths. It could have been 2 million. And you're actually thinking that we have 20% of all the world's deaths. You know, Trump isn't trying to win new voters over, though. I mean, everything he's been doing, the supporters, the base, love it. He's rallying in Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, saying, I wish I didn't have to be here. And that's not going to go over well with people he's trying to win over. The supporters and me, we love his raw honesty, and he says whatever he wants to say, and you know, politicians lie behind your back. He just straight up tells you right to your face how it is. And so he has not done one thing to try to win a new voter. And he knows he's losing in the polls. And the polls are way worse than 2016. I don't think they're that fake. 3 to 5% of the numbers are fake, but not the whole 8-10% he's losing in some of these swing states. Now, the silver lining is Republican registrations are way up. They are beating out new registrations of Democrat voters for the whole year in swing states like Pennsylvania. So, is it the silent majority? The passion that will be converted into a massive turnout for Trump supporters? Well, there is no passion for Biden. There's hatred against Trump. But will the turnout for Biden's 50%, which I do think Biden has a 50% support, 45-50%, be actually turning out to the polls? And will it beat out Trump's 40%, which will turn out? So it's a battle of Trump's passionate 40% of people turning out versus Biden's 45 to 50% of the vote that may or may not turn out. And so I just feel like Trump will find a way to win, whether even if it involves pulling the levers of the federal government and having some bags of mail thrown out. Mail-in ballots are 80% Democratic, 20% are Republican, because Republicans want to vote on election day. Democrats want to mail in their ballots, and there's going to be massive voter fraud this year. I don't care what past surveys have said, past research has said. This is the most polarizing time ever, the most hated and loved president ever. It's going to make people do some crazy things. There will be manipulated fake ballots on both sides, and I think it's such a fake election. It's such a China virus rigged election, just like it's a fake 2020 World Series too. That was 60 games, and the Dodgers, with all their money and all their talent and all their experience, are playing inferior teams, and they're barely squeaking by. So I don't know how, but Trump will find a way to win, even if it means after the election, because he's going to win election night. So, but then you're all going to he's going to claim victory because he's going to be ahead on election night, but then the mail-in ballots are going to make Trump lose because there's going to be a lot of fake-ass ballots coming in too, and Trump just needs to go to a few swing states with some secret hitman kind of people and to get a couple bags of mail thrown out at a couple post offices in a couple swing states so he wins, and I expect him to do that. And that's just fighting fire with fire and offsetting the rigged Chinese election that was unleashed against him when he was going to sail to re-election. And all of you that are like, his response was bad for the virus, virus. Like, what did you expect? He, for his 50, 60 years of having this style of bravado, perception is reality, being hopeful, projection, like you're going to say hopeful things. You're going to manifest your thoughts into reality. So for everything else, every topic, every strategy, every battle, every war, that is what he has done. And you can't do that with the virus. But everybody thought we would lock down for a week or two in March, and then everything would be fine and it would go away. And it hasn't. And you're all going to, like, in hindsight, Monday morning quarterback him and blame him for everything. It's your TDS. It's your Trump derangement system that is Trump derangement syndrome that is absolutely out of control, absolutely making you so biased. You would not have done anything differently unless you wanted to be like a Biden and just lock down for months at a time. The suicide rates, the drug abuse, the domestic violence, the mental illness and depression is through the roof. So I don't know, no one has come out with a stat. There's way more deaths because of all of that. Way more harm and pain and suffering because of all of that than the 200,000 deaths that you're blaming on him. And it could have been way worse if we just never shut down in the first place, which Trump's whole life has been about maximum money, maximum stock market, maximum success and economy. So, he really should have done that approach. And then we would have 300, 400,000 deaths right now. And guess what? Final point. The rest of this year, this final 2-3 months of the year, there's going to be another 30 or 40,000 deaths for sure that you're all going to blame on COVID, on the China virus. And guess what? There's a study that's out that says we're only 1% higher in our deaths this year than last year. And so over the rest of the year, this fall and winter that's coming, there are the 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 people that were going to die from the flu this year, because every year 30 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 people die from the flu every year. Instead of them dying by the flu, it's the coronavirus that's going to get them first, because it's 5 times more powerful than the flu, but it's whatever. It's still just another version of the flu. It's the China virus that's going to finish them off first. So the 30 or 40 or 50,000 old people and susceptible people that were going to die from the flu this year, if the coronavirus didn't exist, guess what? They're going to die from the coronavirus instead. So you're going to add those numbers to the total, and you're going to blame that on Trump too, when it's like they were the ones that were going to die from the yearly flu. So you're all so full of shit, you're so delusional and full of TDS that you cannot comprehend the facts, and that's what they are. And so again, Trump has done everything wrong if he was trying to win new voters and try to narrow that gap. And so it makes you wonder, is he trying to win? Or does he have some more tricks up his sleeve? More October surprises or a November surprise? And that must be what it is. I have faith in Trump in finding a way to do that. Playing dirty or not, whether he legitimately wins the Electoral College by the votes or he manipulates and rigs it, that's what is right, because the China virus, that was not right to be unleashed against him. And who would just give up on re-election and have the economy killed and everything when you're the president? Put yourself in his shoes. Every president cares about themselves more than anybody else. But yeah, I don't know how Trump's going to do it. I don't know how Devil Rays are going to do it, but they're both going to find a way, because the Dodgers, they're destined for failure. They're choke job artists, but even still, this is a fake 2020 World Series, China virus World Series, and this is a fake 2020 China virus election, but they have a lot of things in common. Trump and the Devil Rays, and we're going to see it play out rest of this week and next week. The World Series, it's 1-1 right now, and we're going to see Trump find a way to win and stay the president of the United States. Yeah, about masks. You insult my intelligence when you say, if only Trump would have told his supporters to wear masks, then they would have worn masks and this virus would have been over. No. I don't wear masks because I know how they make me feel. It doesn't matter what Trump said about them, although it has been great entertainment hearing him mock masks, mock and give reporters a hard time that are wearing their masks with muffled voices asking questions just to scare all of America, because they're in on it with Democrats, to scare all of America into feeling like it's a post-apocalyptic world of impersonality and isolation, and increase the mental illness and depression and suicidal thought and blame Trump for everything until after the election. I know how masks make me feel, and the irritation because I'm prone to acne, and the suffocation because carbon dioxide isn't fun to breathe, and not having fresh air, and the feelings of violation, and the feelings of impersonality, and the feelings of isolation when you don't see anyone's expression. What a cold, dark world. And you're encouraging everyone to wear masks, and you're blaming Trump that if he had just said wear masks, then we would have worn masks. I would not have worn masks. And there's 50 million to 100 million people that did not care about masks and still don't care about masks. You're talking about 10 million college students and high school students that don't care about masks. They're mocking this whole virus and masks, okay? So all of them and all the suicidal people and all the depressed people and all the tough people and all of the young people and all of the people that just feel that a life of masks is not a life worth living, just like an unexamined life is not a life worth living. All of those people, 50 million people, they weren't going to wear masks no matter what Trump said. So don't blame Trump's attitude about masks as if that's why there's deaths or the virus is still going on, because these people, 50 million people, don't want to wear doggy muzzles. They're not meant to be worn. People were not meant to wear masks. You blaming Trump for the virus is like me walking by a house that's on fire because of some domestic violence, and the husband beat up the family and lit the house on fire and left, and then because I don't go in and try to save the screaming people because I'll die, maybe, this is a crazy extreme hypothetical, you're gonna say I killed them. Not the husband that is a horrible piece of murderer that set the house on fire. He didn't do it. I did it because I didn't go and fix the situation, right? So China unleashed the virus. China created the fire. And then because Trump didn't have a very specific, exact strategy, in hindsight, you're going to blame him when we live in a democracy and we don't have to wear masks if we don't want to. And it's the elderly people that should have stayed locked up and had DoorDash delivered if they didn't want to die. Sorry to say, but that's the cold, hard, honest truth. 3 things: suburban moms, males, common sense people specifically. Why do you want more Muslim refugees in this country? Did you not just see what happened to Samuel Paty, the school teacher in Paris, France, that was beheaded by a Muslim? Democrats import refugees. They're so compassionate and empathetic to the detriment of our safety. It doesn't make sense. It's not about xenophobia. 2, all politicians lie. They've all lied to you. Obama lied, Bush lied, Republicans, Democrats, they all lied behind your back. They never tell you what they're thinking. Then along comes Trump and he tells you what he's thinking. You know what his plans are. He says everything out loud. He doesn't hide anything. He says what he's thinking. He's raw, he's refreshing, and you should respect that, and the fact that he never appeased the protesters. He never tried to be fake and cave and just put on some fake, I understand. No, he stuck to his guns. He stuck to law and order. And like it or not, you should respect his style. You should respect that he doesn't cave. You should respect that he's not fake. He doesn't appease anybody. And on the bigger note of that, like this whole year, people can't understand how is this a campaign strategy? He's alienating everybody that's not already his supporter. Every time you think he should do this to win over new voters, he does that instead, which that is just appeasing to the base. And you should respect that he is who he is, and he's not trying to be fake to win you over. He does not lie behind your back. He is not a fake lying ass politician. You want to return to some fake politician? 3, you think Biden tells you the truth? You think Biden will even stay the president? Nancy Pelosi's already doing that stuff in the House, the 25th Amendment. So after year 1 or 2 of Biden, they will remove him because he's going senile. They want to remove him. So you are really voting for Kamala. So is she? I didn't try to mispronounce her name. And that was so shocking. They say if you mispronounce her name, you're racist. Like, what? She just has a weird name. But, like, do you really think she's qualified to be president of the United States? Like, don't just say, oh, we need a women president. So for the sake of a women president, Kamala should be president. Like, nah, she's not qualified. She's done nothing. She's been a prosecutor. She should not be the president just because we're in a BLM moment. So you aren't voting for Biden, you're voting for Kamala, because that is who will be the president. If you vote for Biden, he won't make it through 4 years. So that's crazy to me that she would be the first woman president. No, you know who I think would be a cool woman president? Nikki Haley. She was a freaking UN ambassador. She's worldly. She has the experience. So don't be all like, oh, you just don't want a woman president. No, let Nikki Haley be president. But Kamala, that's who is going to be president if you vote for Biden. And just the bottom line, just the point, making the point again, is there's going to be 30,000 to 50,000 flu deaths in the last 3 months here of 2020, here in the winter, and they're going to blame it on the coronavirus. The coronavirus is going to get them because the coronavirus is the flu for the rest of the year, right? So the 50,000 people that would have died from the yearly flu here in the final months of the year are going to die from the coronavirus instead. And you're going to blame that on Trump too. Even though those deaths were going to happen if the coronavirus wasn't here and the flu would have killed them this year. Like, there's literally a study. So use your Google machine and look up the study that says we are only 1% higher in deaths than last year. So yeah, the coronavirus was a thing and a couple more deaths happened than would have, but guess what? This is a perfect point of how you're going to blame Trump for about 50,000 new deaths when they were going to die. They were the ones that were going to be the 2020 flu deaths. So there you go. Like, sit and think about it for a second. You're being played by the Democrat Party, and they're going to put us at risk when they reopen the borders, when they bring in new refugees, when they put everyone on welfare, and they do handouts for everybody and keep everybody unemployed. And this is the China virus election, and you should not reward the Democrat governors and all the people that have been secretly filled with glee and happiness at all the pain and suffering caused, and they wanted it to continue all the way to the election to make Trump look as bad as possible and to brainwash people into thinking that Trump actually did a bad job and this is all his fault because, you know, he should have predicted that this virus was going to do this. That's not him. This is crazy. Like, it's scary how dumb most people are, how dumb, gullible, impressionable, brainwashable zombies most of you are in this country. That's it. And Supreme Court packing. If you vote Biden, you're saying the Supreme Court does not matter anymore. Just destroy it. Cease to exist. Doesn't matter. Because if you're going to add seats from 9 to 11 or 13 or 15, when will it stop? Why stop there? Every time each party is in control of the House or the Senate, they're just going to keep increasing the seat count until they are the majority. How can you change the amount of seats that are 150 years old set at 9? And to try to compare that to what Kamala Harris was saying at the vice presidential debate and what some of the Democrats' talking points are to counter, to make excuses as to why Biden might court pack. Why won't Biden answer? You're going to vote for Biden when he won't answer? I don't care if you're a Democrat or not. You are a horrible human being if you want to just destroy the Supreme Court. And if you're justifying it because, oh, Republicans are court packing first. They're not court packing, right? They're simply filling a vacant seat, that one of the 9 vacant seats. And it happened during Trump's presidency. And you're going to be like, 2016, but Obama wasn't allowed to nominate. The Republican Senates wouldn't even hold a hearing. Well, Obama didn't have control of the Senate. Trump has control of the Senate. And why reward RBG for not retiring? Obama tried to get her to retire, by the way. They had a lunch, and he kind of hinted at it, and she wasn't having that. And then in 2016, she could have retired again, but she wasn't having that. She thought Hillary would win. She bet wrong. She had to sleep on the job the next 3.5 years and couldn't outlast Trump. And now you want to reward the Democrats? Like, you lost the bet, RBG. You lost the bet, Democrats. So Trump's filling the seat, the constitutional right, and you think that's court packing and him putting the judges on the openings of the federal courts? That's just filling open seats. He's not creating seats. And you to even compare that and to talk about changing what's 150 years old, sacred Supreme Court, you're bad people. You really are bad people. So you're voting Biden, then you don't care that he destroys the Supreme Court by adding justices until it's not a conservative majority. It's unreal. Like, you are a bad person. Like, I know you're a Democrat, you don't care, so just, it's a free-for-all, right? So, just America, like, Rome fell, America will fall, because that's how we're going to do this then, right? And then when Republicans get in control, then we're going to court pack too. It's like, how are you going to even cross that line? Because nothing Trump has ever done has crossed that line of fucking with something so sacred, so deep in history as messing with the Supreme Court. Like, Trump could just do that, right? Like, why doesn't Trump could have done that in the first 2 years when they had control of the House. They could have packed the court. They could have just voted to add seats then. And so if Biden's going to do that in 2020, you've just destroyed the entire court. You understand that, Democrat voters? How are you going to vote Biden when he's refusing to answer that question? Because the radical left control him. And like I said, he is not even going to be president all 4 years. They are going to get rid of him, and Kamala's going to be president. And she doesn't deserve to be president. She has no experience on this level. Someone like Nikki Haley has world experience. So that's that. It's crazy. It's unreal. You are a bad person if you're voting Biden because you don't care about the Supreme Court. You don't care about our country's safety, borders, fighting back China from destroying us on trade, billions of dollars for the last 30 years. On and on and on and on and on it goes. And that 2016 Merrick Garland thing, Democrats had no business being allowed to do a nominee. Obama never should have had the opportunity to do a nominee. Justice Scalia, a fellow Italian, shockingly died. Like, who knows? Maybe he was freaking poisoned or killed by some Democrat to open that seat up. But, like, RBG bet wrong. Obama couldn't get her to retire. RBG refused to retire. She banked on Hillary winning so then she would retire, and she bet wrong. Democrats kept losing the bets. They lost. They failed. So Republicans filled a very long-awaited and expected opening. She was 87. She died. It wasn't shocking. It was expected. RBG bet wrong. That's what happens. Elections have consequences. But Justice Scalia was young and shockingly died, and Democrats were just playing with House money, and wow, you didn't get to fill the seat because Obama didn't control the Senate, and it's not court packing. It was simply, hey, the Senate said we're not going to do a vote until the next election, and then Trump won because RBG bet wrong because they all bet wrong and they didn't have control of the Senate. So it's unreal. It's just like this 2020 China virus where Democrats never had a shot. Trump was sailing to re-election, and then y'all unleashed the China virus. And then you were all so happy of the pain and suffering being caused all year, maximum pain and suffering until the election, so that everyone blames everything on Trump. So you're playing with House money in 2016, trying to get that justice when you had no business doing it, because Justice Scalia shockingly died, and it should have been filled with a Republican seat because that was a shocking death. And now in 2020, you want to like scream bloody murder about that technical procedure when RBG was expected to die for a long time and she finally died, and Republicans control the Senate and they're filling it, and you're all cool now with just destroying the entire Supreme Court by voting for Biden so that he expands the court? Because if he doesn't expand the court, Nancy Pelosi's going to get rid of him because the radical left want us to expand the court. So yeah, it's just shocking. Like, so a vote for Biden is expanding the Supreme Court, and so it's rendered meaningless. Unlimited amount of new seats. Why not? Every time a Republican or a Democrat wins, they're going to keep adding seats till they have control of the Supreme Court. And a vote for Biden is for Muslim refugees coming in. So you're for more Islam in this country. So you're for less rights for women because Islam hates women, suppresses women, runs over women, like fathers are doing to the daughters when they're being too Americanized. A vote for Biden is so many crazy things that I have expressed in this series of videos. Wow, people. Wow. Seriously, Trump is raw and unfiltered, and you may not like his brutal honesty in saying whatever's on his mind, but he battles for us against China, and he isn't afraid to hold Iran accountable, and he actually engages in negotiations with North Korea. And yeah, I don't know what the whole Russia thing is about, Putin puppet and being so nice and flowery of Russia. Alright, I'll give you that, but hey, that is one negative out of a lot of cool positives that Trump is doing to protect our borders, to even out the trade deficit against China, to stand for the flag and to have pride and patriotism for this country. And it's just nuts. It's just nuts so of people that are voting Biden.